Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we show you how to redo the front brakes on this 2002 Ford Escape. Same for any 2001 to 04. In the video, this vehicle actually has good brakes, so we just take the brakes apart and put them back together to show you how to do it. Tools you'll need are a pad and rotor set from 1AAuto.com, jack and jack stands, a lug wrench or a 19mm socket with a ratchet. You'll need a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage for a couple of the bolts, large flat blade screwdriver, T47 Torx bit, a large C-clamp, and a torque wrench. Okay, you remove the cap with a screwdriver. If you don't have the benefit of air tools, you'll want to loosen your lug nuts when the wheel's still on the ground, then raise and support the vehicle with the jack stand and remove the wheel and tire the rest of the way. The lug nuts are 19mm.
Okay, now we can inspect the brakes here. And you can see one thing, take the back of your fingernail and run it up the face of the rotor. And on the back side, okay, it should be nice and smooth. You'll feel very small grooves, but you don't want to feel any large grooves. And you can see that the rotor is in pretty good shape. And you can also see that this pad has plenty of life left. And if you look in here, you can see that little slot right there. That's the wear indicator for the inside pad. That pad looks like it's basically got new brakes on it. So we'll just kind of take this apart, put it back together to show you. On the back, your brake caliper, there's little caps here. Pull them out. And the caliper is held on by a couple of bolts there and there. Okay, the T47 Torx bit fits in here, which should be enough. These should not be that tight. They only hold things in place. They don't really take any of the braking pressure.
And I'll just fast forward here as I remove those two bolts. And once those bolts come out, most of the way they don't usually slide out too easily, but you want to just try and pull them out as much as you can.
Take your screwdriver, you put it right in here, and just kind of pry out. That forces the piston back into the caliper. Okay, makes them a little bit loose. Okay, then pull this clamp out. And the bolts to come out some more. So you can see the inner pad came in with it. You just pull that right out. Okay. And then the outer pad just comes right out like that. I'm just going to take my caliper, put it over here, make sure there's not too much stress on the hose. To remove that caliper bracket, you need to remove these two bolts here. Okay, these two bolts are 18mm, so I've got my ratchet. Okay. I'm going to use a piece of pipe, put it right on my ratchet like that, hold the ratchet on the bolt, and slowly lift up on the pipe. Gives you extra leverage. You break that free.
And I'm just going to fast forward as I break the upper one free and then remove the bolts and the caliper bracket itself.
Okay, like I said, the brakes are in good shape, so I'm just taking them apart, putting them back together to show you. Put that back on. I always like to put a lug nut on here. It just kind of helps keep things together so you can put it together easily.
Okay, fast forward as I put the caliper bracket back on, start the bolts. The bracket actually goes between the steering knuckle and the disc, and then the bolts go in from the back side and thread in.
Okay, torque these to 90 foot-pounds. Okay, to put new brake shoes in, you'll need to force the piston back into the caliper. And usually what you do is you put your old brake pad, your old inner brake pad, back into there. I'm going to reuse my old one because the brakes are fine on this, so I'm going to use a block of wood. Okay, put the block of wood on there, large C-clamp, tighten up the C-clamp, and that forces the piston back into the caliper. Okay, I'm going to put my inner pad back in the caliper. Push these bolts back through so they don't interfere. Put my outer pad to the bracket there. Okay. And then put my caliper down on. Take my caliper clip here. Put it back in.
And fast forward here a little bit as I use that T47 Torx bit to just start those bolts in. I have to work the disc around, or the caliper around a little bit to get it in place, and just push those bolts in and start them in.
And torque these to about 20 foot-pounds.
Reinstall the little dust covers. Now you can remove that lug nut, put your wheel back on, start the lug nuts by hand first, then just kind of preliminarily tighten them, and you'll torque them with the vehicle back on the ground. Set your torque wrench to 100 foot-pounds, torque the lug nuts in a star pattern, and put the cap back on, and there's one more step. Be sure that you pump your brakes a number of times, get a nice firm pedal. Okay, and then before you road test your vehicle, do some stops from 5 and 10 miles an hour just to make sure the brakes are working properly. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.